you probably want one of these. I mean, I certainly do. I mean, just in general, but maybe by metaphor you want one too. If you've been watching, paid attention to the Olympic opening ceremony, religious drama that's been going on, if you're a Catholic who cares about defending the church and what the church stands for, then maybe you want one of these by metaphor to scrape and rake clean like this road under construction and get rid of all of the bad things, the things that we don't like, that we disagree with, things that are you know, contrary to our Catholic faith, all the things that seem to insult and tear us down. You want some big equipment to just lay waste to our enemies, if you will. But that's not usually how it works. Sometimes, and in the past, more especially, the church has been very forceful about things, but actually, is that how the gospel really does its best work? Well, annoyingly, no. You know, we want to exert all this big kind of force, and there's people who are making themselves miserable, having comment wars, trying to say, oh, this should be this and that should be done, and why didn't they say this, and why was that allowed to happen? And it's not going to do any good, probably. The thing that does the most amount of good, well, it's much more like this shovel than this giant piece of equipment over here. Small acts of reparation, small penances that we might do, fasting, prayer, that sort of stuff. Forgiving our enemies and loving them is much more effective than shouting at them. Right, think about it this way. We had Blessed Stanley Rother just a few days ago. How did Stanley Rother conquer the Guatemalan government? Did he go back to Guatemala with an army? Did he go back with some big plan to have an advertising campaign or to, you know, make a big dramatic deal about it? No. He went back in love and charity and sacrifice. He gave himself for his people. He served the Lord. He gave them Jesus. And in that, he conquered them. The Guatemalan government that oppressed him is long gone and forgotten. But guess what? Stanley Rother is being honored around the world, all over the place. I met someone just the other day who has a homeschool group in South Carolina, and he is their patron. And I've seen it all over. I meet people all over the world who know about Stanley Rother farther outside of Oklahoma, way far outside of Oklahoma. But that didn't happen by brute mechanical force. That didn't happen by using the heavy equipment of the church bureaucracy. No, the church really has always conquered. Her weapons are always charity, love, mercy, sacrifice. Those things the world doesn't understand. The world wants to use explosions and violence and heavy equipment to get things done, and that's attractive. We understand why it's attractive. You know, who wouldn't want to drive this big bulldozer back here? I certainly do. But that's not how good spiritual work almost ever happens. Good spiritual work, the weapons of faith, the weapons of the church, are small, daily sacrifices, prayers, turning moment by moment to the grace of God. That's how we actually effectively respond to, you know, blasphemies and violence. Yes, we should call it out, what things that should not be. But we shouldn't hold our breath for the world to suddenly go, oh my gosh, you guys are so right. No, that's not how it works. True conversion, true change of society, true change of culture and ourselves comes from the real weapons of God, His grace, gained through prayer, sacrifice, penance, and things like that. Yeah, we have to do the heavy lifting most of the time to affect the heavy lifting of the world. The world's not going to go, oh gosh, you guys, suddenly we believe Catholics are just so right about things. Ain't going to happen. But if we live our lives as faithful Catholics, using the tools the Church has already given us, then true change will happen.